Peaceful arrival with this content to you is Chakra Doula, TT by Tiana Taylor, and I'm here to share with you a outline and a breakdown of the stages of a natural birth, including cervical dilation and the presentation of the birthing person at each stage. This breakdown offers a clear view on how labor progresses. So there are 3 stages of labor that occur. We have early labor, stage 1, yes, early labor, and this is called the latent phase. The cervical dilation is 0 to 3 centimeters at this time. The cervix begins to soften, efface, which means thin, and dilate, which means open. So your cervix is a donut-like shape with a pretty filled hole that can open up. So this donut shape is thick and it is long, and it is at the base of your uterus. And this is what is beginning to soften, and this is what's beginning to thin. So there's not much in the middle of the donut, and then beginning to open. So that space in the center of the donut begins to open. In the presentation of the birthing person at this time, they have mild to moderate contractions occurring irregularly. Their contractions might feel like menstrual cramps or a lower back ache. There's discomfort increases as labor progresses, and the birthing person may experience anxiety, excitement, or calmness. Physical changes that are naturally occurring at this time: the cervix is gradually opening up. The birthing person may walk around, rest, or use relaxation techniques. Some may experience the bloody show, a small amount of mucus or blood discharge from the cervix. The duration or the length that this time occurs can go from several days to as little as several hours, especially for first-time mothers, can be longer. And we also have contractions that are spaced apart but gradually become more regular. So during this early labor stage, it is strongly encouraged for mom and her support people in the home. The communication begins if you have a doula. A doula is a support person that supports birthing people and their families in this transition time. We have so it's great to have a communication tree and just people to communicate and let them know that the process started, keep you in their thoughts and in their prayers if that's what you wish. And also during this early time, mama, eat good, get some rest if you can, move around if you can, get acquainted with your yoga ball, and begin to sit and begin to open your hips, get connected with your breath, tune in, and begin that surrender journey. So whatever it is that you've created and want to curate during this time, which I do talk about in building an empowered birth plan, that this is the time when all of this stuff is begin to be enacted on. Everyone's like, it's cute, it's time to go. We yell action and it's time. Within this aspect of being several times, if you are a mom who would like to support the process, you can do an enema, which will clear out your bowels, which will kind of but support the back end not having too much space in between. Also in the part, so stage 1 actually is everything before actively pushing the baby and the baby's arrival. And then the 3rd stage of labor is the afterbirth, which is the birthing of the placenta. So still in the stage 1, we have active labor. The cervical dilation during this time is 4 to 7 centimeters. It's more rapid dilation of the cervix occurs during this stage. So again, the dilation, which is the opening, and then we have the effacement, which is the thinning. The presentation of the birthing person: contractions become stronger, longer, and more frequent, lasting about 45 to 60 seconds every 3 to 5 minutes. Increased pain intensity with a focus on breathing, relaxation, and comfort. The birthing person may feel more intense pressure in the pelvic region. This is also in regards to the space. If the the cervical space is expanding. That baby's able to come and get lower and lower, and that is the goal. So then that is the stations or the stages, the stations that the baby is at. And 0 is at your pubic bone. So you can be above, which is the plus, or negatives, which is above your pubic, and then is 0 at 0, and then you go to 4 is right there, the baby's there. So physical changes that occurs. The cervix continues to open and the baby's head begins to move further down into the birth canal. The birthing person may need assistance, either by having a birth partner or a healthcare team to help with breathing, positioning, and comfort measures. So there is so many tools and options that you can use in supporting the discomfort that occurs with the actions that come into play with birthing, but the outcome is so worth it. The story, the badges of honor, the honoring your body is so possible. So these ways, those comfort measures are very important, as well as things that you can answer yes or no to. It's not a lot of what would you like, it's would you like this, yes or no. This is where that time is. During this 4 to 7, and I say you can have a full conversation, maybe a ooh and ah in the early stage of labor where you're 0 to 3, but 4 to 7, we're definitely like breaks in conversation, possible forgetting the topic that we were on. And then when we get to the transition stage of transition phase of stage 1, which is 8 to 10 centimeters, that's when communication is yes or no, grunts, very animalistic. So continuing at the active labor phase, we have emotional changes that may occur. Birthing person may feel increasingly focused or fatigued. Resting between contractions might become less effective due to the intensity of the contractions, as well as how quick and rhythmic it's coming. And the birthing person might become more vocal or start to express doubts about this process. This is a time where you speak those empowerment, those just biggest cheerleader moments comes in right now, because this is a time where moms begin to fear that they can't do it or they're already exhausted. Continue to support them. Active labor typically lasts 3 to 6 hours for first-time mothers, but this can vary. We then have this transition phase, which is the last phase of stage 1, which is the pre-birth, and the cervical dilation at this time is 8 to 10 centimeters. 10 centimeters is what is needed in terms of openness, but you also need 100% effacement, again, which is that thinning of the cervix. So both of those components, and you need the baby to be stationed low enough to make pushing make sense. So all of this time continuing to open your hips in active ways, passive ways, even side lying using the peanut ball that they provide in the hospitals, or that you can use at home, pillows between your legs, legs up, hip circles that are used in Thai body work. All of these things help support the transition that is needed, marking the beginning of the pushing phase. So once the cervix completes its dilation to 10, the effacement and the thinning occurs and the baby is stationed. This marks the beginning of the transition to the pushing phase. Presentation of the birthing person, contractions are very intense, occurs every 2 to 3 minutes, lasting 60 to 90 seconds. So that's like your favorite songs, like verse and chorus going on. Like if you need songs for that, love that for you. I think it's great. A playlist is absolutely phenomenal. Strong urges to push or bear down as the baby's head moves lower. Intense pressure in the back, rectum, and pelvic area. A feeling of out of control or losing focus is common at this point. Physical changes that are occurring. The cervix is completely open and the baby is ready to descend into the birthing canal. The birthing person may feel the ring of fire as the baby's head crowns when the head starts to emerge from the vagina. And emotional changes. Birthing people, I know as mamas, can feel overwhelmed with deep feelings of exhaustion and sometimes fear. Some people may experience nausea, shaking, or extreme emotional reactions. support and encouragement is crucial at this time. It is near impossible and honestly very unsafe to do any type of intervention that's like epidural at this time. The contractions are coming so quickly. The reality of the birthing person staying still for that sterile procedure to occur is terrifying and would not suggest it. In this phase can last 15 minutes to an hour for first-time mothers, but it can be quicker for those who've given birth before. So once that urge of like, I'm ready to push, it's time. Stage 2 is all the way there. I have yet to meet a mom who has not been maybe 15 minutes off of knowing that it's time to push. And that pushes us to stage 2, the pushing stage. The cervix is fully dilated at 10 centimeters. At this point, allowing the birthing person to start actively pushing, and again, effacement has occurred, which is the thinning, and the station is low enough that the baby's right there to go to the birthing canal. Strong and uncontrollable urges to push with each contraction. The birthing person may push lying on their back, side, or in a more upright or squatting position, depending on their preference and medical advice. In the hospital, they're almost always going to encourage you to lay down, and in reality, the mess that occurs in the doctor's space is exactly what they get. Because why you force a woman to do something when gravity can support that is wild. I'm a big proponent of the use of the squat bar. I think that there's so many tools that they just really don't get in tune with that needs to be more put in so that it can just be like, it's time. Increased pressure in the pelvic and perineal area as the baby's head moves through the birth canal. The baby moves down in the birth canal with each push. In the perineum, the area between the vagina and the anus starts to stretch to accommodate the baby. The baby's head may begin to crown, and visible signs of the baby's head and shoulder may appear. There's often a sense of urgency and focus during this pushing change. Many birthing people feel a sense of relief once they start pushing. Some people may feel empowered, while others may feel fatigued, but still determined. The pushing stage can last from 30 minutes to 2 hours for first-time mothers. For subsequent births, it may go faster. And then we are in stage 3. At the end of stage 2, at the end of that pushing stage, you have your baby. But unfortunately, you're not done. We still have one more stage, which is stage 3, the delivery of the placenta or the afterbirth. The cervical dilation. After the baby is born, the cervix begins to shrink down and the placenta will separate from the uterine wall. Now, if we think about this, the placenta can be or weigh almost as much as a baby from time to time. So to think that this cervix is beginning to squish down is so important to get this out. Like, it's time. It's uncomfortable. It makes it seem like there's no point, but there's absolutely a point. In the closest to a lotus birth as you can, this is still fully connected, unbothered by doctors, by clamps, to this space between the baby and the placenta. So all this nourishment slowly being detached from you is still supporting the baby. We then have mild contractions continue as the placenta is delivered. The birthing person may experience relief or exhaustion after the baby is born. The placenta is expelled through the birth canal with the help of mild contractions, usually within 5 to 30 minutes after birth. Healthcare providers will check to ensure the placenta is fully delivered and no fragments are left behind. The birthing person may often experience a sense of joy, relief, and sometimes intense emotion after a baby is born. Hormonal changes occur as the body starts to return to its pre-pregnancy state. The afterbirth usually takes 5 to 30 minutes but can last up to an hour. So just to review, there are 3 stages in what is considered a journey of a natural birth. In stage 1, we have 3 parts. We have the early labor stage. This is mild contractions. The cervix softens and dilates 0 to 3 centimeters. We have the active labor stage, 4 to 7 centimeters, stronger contractions, and the cervix dilates rapidly. And then the last portion of stage 1 is the transition stage, which is 8 to 10 centimeters. and intense contractions and cervix is fully dilated, the baby has descended into the right station and the thinning, of the cervix has occurred so that all of this can go as smooth as possible. Then we have stage 2, which is pushing and birth of the baby at 10 centimeters, strong urges to push, the baby's head crowns, and the baby's born. And then stage 3, we have the delivery of the placenta, and the placenta is expelled after birth of the baby. And all of this can be done in such a supported way. So I wanted to first take time to highlight and acknowledge what it is that's actually the journey of a natural birth, how, like what it looks like, how quickly you can support. And I want to continue to expand on how it is that you can support these birthing people and these loved ones in your life in this time, as well as how you as a birthing person can ask for the support that you need as you reflect and explore your knowledge base so that you can be there to actively participate and be so proud of the journey that you are taking. So I'm so excited to share this with you. I love doula work, and I just want to thank you for tuning in and exploring with me on some Women's Month education series from Chakra Doula T on the journey of natural birth. Join me for continued Chakra Doula T content, as well as all the amazing content that I post as TT by Tiana Taylor, and I look forward to sharing more with you. Ashe.